my latest project. This BlueBoard runs on batteries. It takes 4 AAA and it eats right through them very quickly. I'd like to power this off my pedal board, but it's 9 volts. So how to do that? Get yourself one of these. This is a DC transformer, okay, and it goes from 9 volts to 6 volts. It's actually 3 to 15, but you can vary that by this little adjustment screw in the bottom there. So what I can do is bring in 9 volts right here, and then send it out to the board right here. So first thing we have to do is take the board apart. There are 2 screws that were right here and here that I've already taken out, and there's others. So the way you find them when the bottom is like this, and I've already taken it apart so I know how to do this, but what you do is you run your finger across and you can feel a divot. When you feel a divot, there's a screw in there. So I just punched through, right through the foam, and screwed it. I have put 2 screws back in, and I will take those out now. Okay, so I've separated the bottom from the top. The bottom is where all the electronics reside, and that will give me access to the contact points for where the batteries go, because this is one end, this is the other. So when the batteries go in, okay, positive goes this way, comes across this bar, and goes out this way. So these are the 2 contact points right here. Turning this over, I can see that the contact points reside here. In fact, here's a positive sign right there. So it tells me that's the positive side of the DC power. Important that you observe polarity, because DC can cause some major problems if you get that backwards. Where am I going to put this transformer? Looking at the battery compartment, I see that this may very well fit right inside there. Okay, looking at this and looking at the depth, I believe what I can do is I can cut this out with a Dremel, basically excavating this whole section. And that would then allow me to mount this transformer, because looking at its profile, I can see that it will just about fit in there. Okay, so before I do all this cutting, I want to be sure that this thing is going to fit in here. So what I've done is I take a vernier caliper, I've opened it up and closed on this to see how thick it is. And I'm not concerned about the measurement because I'm concerned about the depth. The transformer can go right to this edge. Okay, when I go to this end, I can see that the cover is actually raised above that, this section right here. So the next step is to go ahead and cut the section out. From there, I will go ahead and solder on a connector so it'll go into my pedal board, and solder these onto the contact points right here. Okay. I want to be able to prove that this transformer, DC transformer, will indeed reduce my 9-volt supply to 6 volts, so I can run my BlueBoard without batteries. So I've got a 9-volt battery here, and I'm going to confirm that I have good power at 9.5 volts. And with the use of a couple of clips, I'm going to set this up and test it. 9-volt battery, observing polarity. Very important that you do that with DC. And that feeds in with the red being hot, or the positive, black being the negative. And the output, the yellow is hot and the black is negative. And I should get somewhere around 6 volts here. Okay, 6.04. Now, as mentioned before, this is adjustable. So what I'll do is I will turn this over, and that little set screw I showed before allows me to adjust. And there we go. Just about ready to cut out this cavity right here that we're going to use to put the transformer in. And in this instance, I'm using a Dremel with a diamond cutter. Okay, I tried a cutoff wheel, but they just melt the plastic. But I can't cut across here with the Dremel, so I'm going to use this saw. It's just a hacksaw. And I've taken the ribbon cable out so that I can take this board off. This piece has been cut out. It ain't pretty, but that should work. And the transformer will go just about like this. I needed to actually take some of the ribbing out of here that holds the batteries. It also adds some strength. But you can see I took that down to accommodate the transformer. You can see the transformer needs to sit on something flat. I will use hot glue right on that, a hot glue gun. This will wind up sitting right here. So that worked out pretty well, except I had to cut out quite a bit of the ribbing right here. Again, this ribbing is put in here for strength, but the transformer would not clear. So what I wound up doing was cutting a lot of it out so that I gained that room and it would fit. You can see I closed the door completely. I also put a little bit right here to keep it from popping open. And I also put some on the on-off switch. I want this to be on all the time. Turning it over, you can see I filled up this side with some of the glue as well. And I dug out a little bit more for the transformer just to be certain that it's going to clear. And I did a little more right here. This is roughly how it's going to go. And these wires will come down here and be attached to this. So that means I have to put a hole in here to get this cable through. The hole has been drilled to run my wire through. I tied a knot on the end for stress relief. I've hot glued in the transformer. We can see that it is just going to clear that. It might be a little bit shy, but I think it'll be okay. And I've started to route the wires, okay, because this wire here is going to go right to this terminal. That is the positive terminal. And this black wire is going to come around the side here and come up right into that one. I need to establish the center and outside of this. What I'm going to do is plug it into my pedal board and confirm that I have 9 volts right here. Okay, there's my 9 volts. So now I know which is positive, which is negative. So I've started soldering with this first connection right here. Okay, and that is my negative connection. You can see the positive symbol right there. So that's where this yellow wire is going to go. We'll do that one next. Just about set to put everything back together. Soldering's been done. I've glued the wires in place. And I've made my connections here. I use some heat shrink tubing and glue to lock everything in place. And that's, of course, is my plug. So the next step is to put it together and see if it works. Okay. So you can see we brought the cord out. I put a little dab of the glue there. This is the only issue I had with clearance. Right here. Okay, I tried holding it down and gluing it with a hot glue gun, but it wouldn't hold, so I can live with that. On this end here, I had a gap, so I went ahead and put hot glue all the way down and cleaned it up somewhat. On the bottom, well, it ain't real pretty, but you know what? It's going to be on my pedal board, so nobody's going to see it. Okay, so first thing to do would be to plug it in, see if it powers up. Oh, that's a good sign. A blinking blue light. That means it's ready to connect. That means it should show up here. There it is. And once connected, when I step on the pedal, success.